Hope you were arriving at the nick of time here because you pulled over on the side of the road for Justin Fields.
My day is thoroughly ruined. So
What's going on?
Justin Fields signed with the Jets. His boy is going to flame out in New York.
Hey, my friends are like all happy Aaron Rodgers might be our quarterback.
Welcome to Eye on Sports, where we delve into the biggest Butler County sports topics. I'm your host, Butler Eagle Sports writer Derek Pida. Joining me are fellow sports writer Brendan Howell and Eagle Sports editor Jake Murda Adams. How many yards and touchdowns did Justin Fields throw for his Steelers? 6 games. What did he do?
What was it, 1,200 yards? He probably averaged like 200.
The Steelers once moved on from Terry Bradshaw, a Hall of Fame quarterback. They can move on from Justin Fields. Sorry, Brendan.
There's no other option.
I mean, he's
Russ.
let's just wait a few years before we start sizing him up for his gold jacket to Canton. It's okay.
Well, he's definitely not getting one as a Jet now. I think there was a lot of franchises he could have gone to where he might have been able to have success.
So why did he sign with the Jets?
Probably more money.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
He wants money over success. So I can't back a guy like that.
The Steelers could have matched $40 million for 2 years. That is nothing.
They could. And I am the one at the end of the regular season. Wilson's old.
Yeah.
Stick with Fields, but now he's gone. Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean,
okay
you don't
with
have a
it.
choice anymore.
It's just
but
Are you not going to talk today?
I
because
won't
of
lose
this?
any
I'm just
sleep over it.
listening.
I won't lose any sleep over it.
I will.
I was going to say.
I knew for a few days it was going to happen. The fact that
You'll be all right.
there was an offer there and he didn't take it, like the fact that you want to test free agency means that you are indeed probably leaving. So I knew that was the case.
And I'm sure he was probably frustrated for being benched, having not lost the job.
So what was the difference? What would you have with the Steelers? So it was like
a better roster?
$40 million or
Maybe.
Nobody's going to report.
Let's say 35.
That's the thing
yeah.
that I think I brought this up on the show before. Granted, we're not pro athletes. I mean, I'm not anymore anyway. If somebody came to you and said, Laura, you just won $20 million. You're happy. Oh my God, $20 million.
Mm-hmm.
They come back 5 minutes later and say, we apologize, Laura. There's been a mistake. You only won $10 million. In reality, you just lost $10 million. What do you care? You've got $10 million coming your way.
Well, that's the thing, and I haven't signed anything yet because we know that's the world that we live in, right? I haven't signed anything yet.
I mean, I'd still care. Would I be able to move past it?
I'd be like,
Yes.
oh,
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, like, maybe a little
And I'd be like,
longer reaction,
peace.
but
I'm like, catch me outside.
Gretzky, here I come.
I'm coming back, Wayne. Coming back to Westlake for you. And see those FanDuel commercials that you're doing. I see you.
So this now means it's Russell Wilson moonballs to DK Metcalf.
A guy who was in high school or in 9/11. That's our options. So
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Wait, what?
I mean, hey, I was in 5th grade during 9/11. I wasn't that much farther behind.
you're not playing quarterback for
This is true.
my favorite football team.
In my mind, I am.
Are you still talking about Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
Yeah.
You really don't like him, huh? Do you like Aaron Rodgers?
I think he's
Derek?
very self-righteous, and being that I'm going to be covering the Steelers next year.
I don't mind Aaron Rodgers. I just
hot.
think I said move on from Wilson because I thought he was getting old. I mean, Rodgers is like 6 years older than Wilson.
Strictly speaking, from a talent perspective, I mean, it doesn't seem like there's much left. He was not good with the Jets.
Aaron Rodgers 4 or 5 years ago, awesome.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, let's go. Granted, how much of that is the fact that he just can't play anymore, and how much of it is the fact that he played for the freaking Jets?
The fan earlier, I was listening to them on my way back from Cranberry. They were saying, or Joe Starkey goes, let's get Aaron Rodgers and then trade up and draft Shedeur Sanders. I'm telling you right now.
Let me remind you, you're also the one that said after Ohio State lost to Michigan that nothing else the rest of and then when they won the national championship, you're like, oh, I'm a national champion now.
Why? I love when sports shock jocks say, let's trade up from whatever to like the top pick in the
draft. You just
draft.
traded away your second-round pick last night. Why would you trade up again and lose another pick? Like,
where the Steelers pick 23, 24?
23.
23. Like you're going to get a top
21.
3 pick.
21.
Either way,
I've written enough mock
you're going to
drafts,
have
you're
you're going to trade several first-round picks and seconds in the future just to move up for Shedeur Sanders.
Who's Kenny Pickett, but
and way more famous dad. I don't like when shock jocks do stuff like that. Like I get that you want to try to get a rise a little bit, but like let's be a little bit touch of realism here. You're not moving from 21 to number 2. You're just not.
Then Joe Starkey was saying, Aaron, bro, just shut up. Like, I shut the radio off. I'm not even kidding. Like, I don't want to hear your voice anymore.
But, Brandon, you got DK Metcalf.
I'm happy
The
with
largest
DK
human being to play receiver.
There have been 2 Steelers acquisitions where I've popped off. Well, when they traded for Fields, I was walking on the south side, and I, like, erupted in joy, like yelling and running.
He
down the
texted
street.
me. I was in Du Bois that day. I remember that.
I was in the middle of a serious conversation
On
with
the
Bailey
south
last night.
side.
Like, we were talking. She was watching Love Is Blind. Do you watch Love Is Blind, Laura?
Oh, a friend got me started on it, and then I got to about episode 8, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this, and I'm stuck. I'm stuck right now.
We were talking about it. Like, she was watching it, and I was
Awful.
just like sitting there, and we're sitting there talking
You know,
about
Love
it.
is Blind.
Talking about like the one woman decided not to be with this man because of his like views on like LGBT and Black Lives Matter, and we're just talking about that, like going back and forth. And in the middle of nowhere, I look at my phone and I see DK Metcalf has been traded, and I open it, see it's for the Steelers. I popped up and started yelling and running around the room, and then she didn't understand. Like, I had to like open my laptop and just
she's
start
like, "What's the
writing like the
matter with
breaking
you?"
news for Steelers Now. So like an hour later, she's like, I get why you did that, but it kind of upset me that you did. Like, we were in the middle of a conversation and you just like
Yeah, bro.
popped up and started going crazy, and then went to your laptop. I was like, I'm sorry. And I was excited, but
Also news, bro.
it's
That's a
It's kinda
30.
how it
it's like trading for I posted this on Twitter.
It's like a diamond. I know.
for all of 23 people to look at, but it's like they traded for a more muscular George Pickens. Like, a more muscular, more productive, less immature George Pickens.
Taller, larger,
Very
Sculpted.
Good, very good looking.
very good looking man. That he is gonna fill out that jersey well.
I showed Bailey. I was like, he is ripped. Like, look at him. I was like, I don't want to show you him because you might have a crush on him. And she looked at him, and she's like, no. She's like, because he has like complete 6-pack. Like, he's just built like the Hulk.
Yeah.
And she's like, I wouldn't like cuddling with him. Like, you wouldn't be able to cuddle because he's just all like rock hard. so that, yep.
That's the problem you've had with your wife, right, Derek? Just too chiseled.
What? Oh yeah. Just
She's like, Derek, you need to eat some more burgers and fries and milkshakes.
yeah. I was down to this time last year. I remember I got weighed. I was down to 187.
Nice.
Wow.
But as they increase your insulin, more insulin in your body makes you retain weight. So I'm well over 200 now. But this time last year, I was down to 187.
Yeah, but you know muscle weighs more than fat.
Speaking of
Well, let me go work on that.
weight and eating, I have not yet eaten today. So this coffee is like,
Oh,
just
that's great.
hitting,
I have
right?
snacks. Do you
Now,
want?
see,
you
I'm
wanna-
telling you, if I wouldn't have drank,
He's letting himself
if
go,
I wouldn't have
Jake.
got that coffee on the way in, I'm telling you what.
Are you doing intermittent fasting?
No, I just was very busy with writing for my side jobs before.
Do you want to? I have some popcorn and I've got Reese's
Well,
peanut butter cups.
I
I
actually
feel like we have to
do-
parent him right now.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that? Chipotle's calling my name after this. So
That was bad.
that was
That was really
terrible. It didn't make
blah,
any
blah,
sense.
blah, blah,
Let's
You're
see
like,
if-
do you hear that? And I was like, nothing.
blah blah.
Audio audience,
Um,
visual audience.
We gotta
no one gets
we
it.
gotta have an intervention.
We
with
really
him here.
do.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk to you, or get them as a sponsor.
Ryan Day is asking you to take care of yourself because if you ever want to coach Ohio State, like I know you do, you've got to be healthy.
I'd never want to be a football coach.
Do you
Gotta
get
take care of
guac
yourself.
every time?
No, okay, so
Oh well, that's even better, I guess.
we forfeited our flag football game yesterday because we only had
Oh,
4 guys
there
that
it
would have
is.
been able to be there. So I feel a little less healthy this week because I didn't run around yesterday. I haven't done anything
I was telling Laura off show I did 4 miles run walk yesterday for the first time in like 2.5 years.
outside.
I'm paying. Yep. Yeah. It was a little windy, a little cold, but
Wee bit
it was-
chilly.
It wasn't bad. Other than I just am not in the shape that I need to be in yet. I got 2 months to prepare for Broad Street Run, and I got a month to decide if I'm actually going to compete in it. So we'll see how my body holds up over the next month.
We brought Rambo to the park again. He let a boy dog pee on his head.
How? How big was it?
buried the lead.
Did he have his head down or something?
It was like
That's your dog right there.
this boy dog
mean,
was just like peeing, and Rambo was sniffing, and then the dog started peeing, and Rambo just put his head under and like let him.
We're going to start off with the wrestling state championships because obviously that's the headline news right now. Jake, you kind of rounded stuff up there, talked to a few of the kids that were out in Hershey this past weekend and coaches. What did our local kids from Butler, Seneca, and Knock do this past weekend?
We got 2 medals out of 4 athletes at state championships in Hershey. Santina Sloboda from Butler won bronze, which, according to their coach, is the best finish ever for a Butler wrestler at the state level. And Knox Braley Ireland came in 6th. She gets the first girls PIAA medal for Knock as a program. They have one last year with Miranda Lejevic, but now as an official program in their first year, she can claim that she's the first state medalist. Both of them had a really good start to the tournament, then ran into some buzzsaws. Santino was able to turn things around. I talked to him a little bit about, like, last year he lost in the state semifinal, and then he lost the next 2 matches, finished in 6th because he didn't really know how to recover from that loss. This year he loses in the state quarterfinal to a kid who went on to finish 2nd, makes the final. This time he wins the next 3 matches, his consolation bout on Friday night after that loss, and then 2 more on Saturday to come in 3rd. So mental toughness there was, he talked about being a little bit better at that this year compared to last. Braley kind of is going through what Santino went through last year. She lost a really tough semifinal, but it was in a matchup where she knew she was going to lose, and she almost got a takedown in that matchup where she was like, she surprised herself and wasn't able to actually finish the points. So she got nothing for it. She loses 3-0. She gets pinned later, but she was down 3-0 for like the second period, I think it was. But was pleased with her performance from that. But then she lost on Saturday early in a consolation round, which sent her into the 5th place match, and it kind of spiraled from there. In the 5th place match, she was actually up 6-1 with 20 seconds left.
Wow.
Was taken down, and then was pinned. She said that she basically froze when the girl connected on a move, and kind of just locked up. The girl's able to get the takedown points, converts it into a pin a couple seconds later. So 6-1 5th place medal turns into a loss by fall and a 6th place medal. She needed some time to kind of recover from that. Both of them, when I talked to them on the phone on Saturday, talked about how even this year is still a learning experience for them going into next year when they're both going to be seniors. And that's something that you see a lot at state wrestling, where a kid has to take their lumps at some way. It's a similar trope that you hear in like NBA, like the Chicago Bulls of the early 90s didn't just become the Bulls. No, they had to get the crap beat out of them by the Detroit Pistons a couple years before finally clearing that hurdle. And state wrestling can be somewhat similar, where like you've got to, a lot of wrestlers don't show up and as freshmen dominate and win, gold or bronze or something like that. They get their butts handed to them. They've got to learn how to be a little bit stronger, and that's usually mentally, not physically. And then they might do a little bit better and still get their butts handed to them at a later stage the next year. And you keep building off of that to the point where you eventually, can become a state champion or get to the finals. And that's what they're both trying to learn from this year.
When I was an intern, Derek would open the door for me to come down and get me. And every time he'd open the door, he'd punch me in the face and say, "You're getting stronger."
Our other two wrestlers at Hershey, Case Chup, a senior at Butler, closes his scholastic career with a trip to states, which, anybody gets out there wants to do better, but still getting there is an achievement. And Hannah Hornick from Seneca Valley, she's only a junior.
Yeah.
She went out there, I believe she lost her first 2 matches.
Yes.
But she still got her senior year to see what she can do next year. So congrats to all 4 wrestlers that made it to states. Great seasons. And for Sloboda and Ireland, obviously we'll see down the road what they can do next year. Brendan, you're the basketball guru here. Talk about some of the playoff games that you covered over the last few days. I believe you had a game on Friday and Saturday.
I think you've talked before about Corn City's defense and the way that they play defense. I saw that. I mean, I saw them early in the season, but it was very early on. I think it was like their 4th game. And then I saw them on Friday night against Elwood City, and they really shut that team down. Like, I think their best player only had like 4 points or something like that, but they were really tough on defense, and they advanced in their bracket. And then obviously Slippery Rock the other day. I kind of focused that story on what their story or what their season was prior to that game, because they had a really great season after 2 really down years. I think they went 10-34 over those 2 seasons. Then Jeff Steele steps in, and that game was kind of hopeless from the start. I think they turned the ball over 12 times.
Played his Pony League baseball coach.
Yeah.
Coached it.
And the final score of that one was 80-29. I don't think Slippery Rock was ever really in reach. Just the first quarter, the Jeff Steele joked afterwards. He told his girls in practice during the week, like, if you don't know what to do, throw the ball to me on the sideline. Because the turnovers, Oakland Cats would just take them, and it'd be a layup 2 seconds later. So they really piled on there. I think it was a 17-0 run to end that quarter or the first quarter, and I don't know. I think it's really impressive what Slippery Rock was able to do to turn things around because we saw how they performed the past 2 seasons.
It was, and I've seen Slippery Rock play this year. I think it was 4 games total, and they are a really good team. It's very easy to look at a final score from a state playoff game and say, 80-29. They were also going up against an incredibly good to great Oakland Catholic team. Slippery Rock had a great season. They deserve to be in the state playoffs. And there's another, we talked about in wrestling, Sloboda and Ireland trying to come back next year and improve on what they did this year. Slippery Rock's got a lot of key pieces coming. I know Romanovich is coming back. I believe CJ Sabo is a senior.
Yeah.
But they've got some other key pieces coming back to see how, number one, you got to be able to fit into that system because they like to run. I mean, you didn't see it work for them on Saturday against Oakland Catholic, but I've seen it work for them in other games that I covered this year. Very fast-paced, so you have to be in shape and you have to have the right mentality as well as physical ability to run that system. I think they got some girls in place that can come back. How do they replace Sabo? Because she was such a big force for them with scoring and rebounding. But, we got the offseason to see how that turns out for them. 2 games I do want to mention. John's not here, but he covered both of them for us. North Catholic boys and girls. I believe the boys played Friday night and won. Yep. Girls played Saturday and won. So they're both playing this week. The boys are actually going to play on Tuesday.
8 o'clock against Beaver at North Allegheny, and the girls are going to be Wednesday at 7 against Harbor Creek at Oil City High School.
Yeah, I'm going up to Oil City High School on Wednesday, and I think it's going to be pretty slick getting up there.
Oh, my God.
The game I covered, Knock boys, interesting game. Knock making their first state playoff appearance since 2006, and they're going up against a really strong Cathedral Prep team up in Erie. The game was played at Erie's home court, obviously. And Cathedral Prep had recently won the District 10 title. And Knock, I didn't find this out. I didn't realize this until about an hour before the game. I'm sitting in my car in the parking lot doing my research, as I usually do. And up to that point, Knock had not been beaten by double digits all year. Mm-hmm. Their biggest loss deficit-wise was a 9-point loss in the Whitfield playoffs against Avonworth. Well, Prep ended up beating them 70-57, so Knock's season's over. But when you look at the incredibly tough schedule that Knock played this year, they played Bell Vernon, who won the Whitfield title. Mm-hmm. They're in the same section with Deer Lakes and North Catholic, who lost to Bell Vernon in the Whitfield title game.
And they beat North Catholic in one of those, I believe.
And he split with North Catholic. They played Johnstown, who is ranked in the top 5 in the state in Class 5A. Baldwin, who's a top 6A team, one of the top 6A teams. To think that they went through that entire schedule without losing by double digits, and then that run ended with a 13-point loss to Prep, but they were literally in every game this year. Even against Cathedral Prep, they're down by 6 with about 5.5 minutes to go. That's in the game. They were in every single game this year, and that team is bringing all their starters back.
Yeah,
all their starters,
including Finnegan and Bauman, the top 2 who both have 1,000-point scores. You know what, we need to discuss this. Do we have Brendan write a feature on them in the before the season starts about how they're primed for a big year
next year?
The Brendan Howkhurst. Do we have to unleash
absolutely,
that?
Yeah.
It worked with Knock football, that's for sure. So,
if Coach Bauman is listening, he better keep Brendan far, far away in November.
Keep him away. Knock boys finished the season 19-8, but again, first state playoff appearance in 19 years, and they've got all those guys coming back. So, watch out for the 25-26 nights. I don't have to ask you if you're going to swim in college. I'll just ask you about going to Navy in general.
Yeah. Did you tour Bucknell when you were going through college recruiting and stuff, since you've been there so many times?
No, I didn't, but a lot of my friends went and toured it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How's training this week going? You're just in tapering right now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm starting to taper. Well, I didn't taper or anything for Whitfields, so I'm starting this week.
Our guest this week on the Eye on Sports podcast is Mars senior swimmer Luke Lamb. Luke won Class 2A Whitfield titles in the 50 freestyle and 100 backstroke last year and recently duplicated that feat at the 3A level last month. He is headed to the state meet this week at Bucknell University, where he won 2 individual crowns last year and is hoping for 2 more gold medals to close out his high school career. Luke, we know you're a busy guy, and we appreciate you joining us. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So last trip to the state meet coming up for you this week, Friday and Saturday. What are your goals? Would anything short of 2 first places be a disappointment for you?
I think really for me, it's just more about the times than anything. Like, I feel like getting the state goals is more like just extra. Like, I just want to hit the goals that I've been going for this season. Just try to drop some time, do the best I can without worrying too much about what everyone else is doing.
So what are your
goals come in the
short? What are your best times in the 50 free and 100 back then?
It's my 50 free. I've been 20.43, and then my 100 back I've been 47.86.
Is that kind of freeing to go in like you're just worrying about somewhat the process, just the time, than you are worrying about the competition?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like whenever I'm worried too much about the competition, it just throws me off. Like, if I can just focus on myself, focus on my own races, then I tend to do a lot better.
You're swimming for Mars this year, but you're a North Catholic student. So how has that transition been to a co-op? Has that paid off for you? Has it been a little bit of a challenge, or at least, especially earlier on in the season, to kind of adjust to new teammates? What's that whole thing been like?
So it honestly hasn't been too different because I swim at a club team at the Y. So that club team is mostly made up of North Catholic and Mars students. So, I mean, we were pretty much swimming in co-op before, just not for meets and stuff. So, like, really, the teammates and all that didn't really change. It was just swimming under a new title.
No icebreakers or anything like that?
Nothing.
Luke, your older brother John swam at North Catholic a few years ago. How old were you when you picked up competitive swimming, and was John's involvement in that kind of spur your own interest?
Yeah, so I started swimming at the Y when I was like 5 years old. I think the summer I was 5. So I grew up swimming with him all the time. He was always better than me growing up. So that definitely pushed me, just trying to like catch his times, even with him being older than me. Like, just trying to not let him beat me. I've always grew up pretty competitive, so just trying to stay with him. And then also, like, in high school, like, he was always pretty driven too. So like, just learning that from him. Like, he would take me to practice every day, stuff like that. So he definitely helped.
So we talked about your dominance in your individual events, 2 state titles, pending whatever happens this week. Also, 4 total Whitfield titles in the 50 freestyle and the 100 back. When did you realize that those were the 2 events where you were going to be able to make the most happen in the pool?
Yeah, so growing up, I've always been a backstroker. So that one was pretty natural for me. Like, I swam the 100 back at Whitfields all 4 years of high school. But the 50 free was the one that, like, I didn't swim in at Whitfields for the first time until last year, actually. That's the first time I swam at Whitfields or anything. So that one was a little harder to figure out. But, like, looking at my brother, because he swam the 50 free at Whitfields his senior year when I was a sophomore. So him swimming that, and then, like, I was just comparing my times to his. I was like, if I do the 50, I could be up there with them as well. So that's kind of where I decided to switch to the 50.
So what was the event that you dropped to pick up the 50 free?
So my freshman year, I swam the 200 IM. And then my sophomore year, I swam the 100 free. But I know I didn't want to do the 100 free again because the 100 free and 100 back are on the same day.
Gotcha. If I look at a sport like basketball or football, where positions are a little bit easier to define by kind of body size and skill level, or like the talent, the specific type of talent, what do coaches and swimmers like you look for to decide if you're going to do a backstroke or the breaststroke or free or an IM? Like, what develops in swimmers to make you specialize in certain events over others?
So, I mean, honestly, it's just like what you grow up doing pretty much, because a lot of swimmers can, from different body types and all that, can swim the same events and be just as good. I would say for freestyle and backstroke, it definitely helps to be taller. Like I'm pretty tall and I have my wingspan's long, so like that's definitely helped me just from being young, like growing up, being naturally good at it. But like even my brother, he's taller than me. I'm 6'2", my brother's 6'3".
Oh, wow.
Even he was a breaststroker, like he didn't even swim backstroke like that. So I mean, it just kind of depends what comes naturally to you.
You've been doing this sport for a while, like you said, since about kindergarten. The schedule, what is that like for, like, how can you describe your average day or your average week to, you know, someone watching this today, and where is the free time and what do you do with it when you have it?
Yeah, so the schedule in season, it's pretty intense. Like I'll go, especially for high school. Like whenever I was younger, it wasn't really that intense. It was just kind of go and swim whenever. But like the schedule I've been following for the past 4 years now is like there's practice every day from 3 to 4:45. So right after school, I just go to the Y and swim there. And then usually after that, I'll go, like sometimes I'll stay after practice, get a little extra work in, and I'll go down to the gym and hit a lift. So I'm usually lifting like 3 or 4 days a week. And then I'm swimming Monday through Friday at that 3 to 4:45. And then Saturdays we start at 5:30 in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what do you do with your free time when you're relaxing?
Just hang out with my friends a lot. Like after swim, most of the times, because I'm right in Cranberry after I swim, so all my friends are out doing something, so I'll just go hang out with them. Or now that it's getting warmer, I'm gonna have to go golf. I love to golf.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I played golf for North Catholic my freshman and sophomore year. I quit junior year just to focus on swimming, and then I played again this year.
Gotcha.
If I was holding to his training schedule, there'd be one thing I'd be doing with any free minute I got, and I'd be sleeping. I would be sleeping. Right? I'd be dreaming about being on the golf course. Luke, I have a son who's 10 years old. He's tried a lot of different sports, including swimming, baseball, soccer. Did you try the other sports, different sports when you were a kid, and what was it that kind of made you say, this is what I want to do, swimming is what I want to do?
Yeah, so like I said, I golfed for a couple of years, and then I played lacrosse in middle school actually, and then I like messed around with other sports. I didn't really play like competitively. But, like swimming, I just liked. Well, I'm really competitive, so I like that it was in not a team sport, like just by yourself. So like I knew that like if something went wrong, it was all on me. And also like the thing I probably like the most is just like seeing my work pay off. Like I know every day in practice that I'm working hard, and I know that eventually that work's gonna show itself. So like that definitely keeps me motivated. Like for other sports, I feel like you can work so hard and like still lose a game just because of a team or something. But like I know in swimming that the harder I work, the better my results are gonna get. So
You're going, like we've mentioned, the fourth straight time to Bucknell. What's the difference between swimming at Bucknell and swimming Whippy's in Pittsburgh? You know, how can you describe like the atmosphere or what it's like to be there with your teammates or yourself, the competition, just the whole general vibe?
yeah, so Whippy's, especially AA, like it's still a pretty crazy environment. But I mean, like it's nothing compared to state. It's like just everyone from all over the state. Everyone's up in the, like you look them in the stands, just completely packed. Like, there's no gaps anywhere. So like that's definitely like it adds pressure, but it's also like you want to, whenever you're swimming, you want to put on a show. Like you make people like be excited. Like one of my favorite things is like hitting the wall in a race, and then especially if I win, just like hearing everybody like up in the stands cheering, like seeing my family up there. So it's definitely like a crazy environment. But for Whippy's, almost feels like, especially this year, like it almost feels like a home meet. Like I go and I just see like everybody I know, all my friends are there. Like everyone up in the stands, I know a bunch of the parents, all that. But States is like, I barely know anybody there.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like completely new people, new competition. So it's just walking in and try to put on a show.
This question, you can't name your home pools. What is the coolest place you've ever competed at, whether club, high school, whatever, it could be the pool itself or the environment, or it could be something that you like, the food that's offered there. What is the coolest place you've ever gone to compete?
The actual location isn't that pretty, but it's Greensboro, North Carolina.
Okay.
That's where they hold YMCA nationals every year. Sorry, that's the bell for school. But they always hold
You're good. We actually don't really hear too much of it.
they always hold YMCA nationals there.
Okay.
And I mean, that facility is insane. Like, they have a full 50-meter pool. They have a big dive well. They have like another separate area. So there's like a ton of pools over there. That's just crazy, like the actual facility. And then the environment there is crazy too, because it's everyone from all over the nation.
Luke, we mentioned your older brother John earlier. I'm curious, where's he at these days, and what does he think of your success in the pool?
Yeah, so he went to the University of Tampa in Florida, but right now he's studying abroad in Spain right now.
Oh,
But
wow.
I mean, but he's very supportive of it. Like last year at States, I was just at the hotel just hanging out like in between swims. And then I got to knock on my door, and it was my brother visiting from college. Like, my parents didn't tell me or anything. He just came and stayed with me. So, I mean, he's definitely very supportive. I'm always, like, after every meet, I'm almost always calling him or texting him about my results and all that.
I wanted to ask you, you had been talking earlier about like trying to always chase him down in the pool as a younger brother. So what was your relationship like growing up, and then how has it evolved as you guys have gotten older?
Yeah, so in middle school, like, we weren't really that close. But, I mean, as soon as I got to high school, like, he was driving me to school every day. We were talking in the car all the time, swimming on the same team. Like, we were just always together. So, I mean, when I was a sophomore and he was going to college, like, that was definitely really hard because, I mean, he's been my best friend for I don't even know how many years, just, like, being with him every day, training with him every day. So, I mean, I would have a really good relationship with him. He's always pushing me.
So I guess we should let our viewers know that Luke is not just wearing a Navy sweatshirt here to wear it. That's actually where he's going to school. First of all, I'm going to ask you about swimming in a second, but how long had you thought about taking up the military lifestyle? I mean, is this something you've thought about for a while?
Honestly, not really. Like, whenever my recruitment process started, I was always getting emails from them, and I was kind of like, I was just talking about my parents about it. I was like, oh, I don't know if it's right for me. But then they convinced me, and the coaches convinced me to go and take a visit to like see if I like it. Because I mean, you can't tell if you're gonna like it unless you actually go on campus and see everything. So I went there, and like as soon as I stepped in there, it was like it just felt right. Like the environment, everything. Like I could just picture myself being there for I don't even know how long. Like I could just picture myself there.
So, look, for somebody that's swam competitively and done so well in the sport, I'm sure you can't even fathom a life right now without swimming.
Yeah.
So that leads me to this question: what are your ultimate goals when it comes to swimming and what you're able to do down the road?
Yeah, so definitely. I mean, I just want to keep getting faster. Like I can't wait to get to college because I know those coaches and that lifestyle is gonna make me so much faster. It's just keep on working, keep on getting my times down, and then I would love to make NCAAs and maybe even final at NCAAs. Like once I'm older, getting that college training.
I did a broadcast back when I was in college of the Navy Army swim meet in Philadelphia, and it's like something out of this world the way that it is. It's a tiny pool, and just the number of cadets and everything in one space, just shouting at each other is really interesting. What are you most looking forward to with Navy? Is it matches like that, or is it like, I know Navy has produced a ton of talent in swimming. You see Olympians all the time, whether it's diving or swimming that go on from Navy. So what are you looking forward to most? Like the history of it, the matches, something else?
Honestly, everything. But like you said, that Army Navy meet, like they were telling us about that whenever we were there, and they said like nothing even comes close to it. You probably know him. His name is Rowdy Gaines.
Yeah.
He's the announcer for the Olympics and all that. And he comes and announces the Army Navy swim meet sometimes, and he said that it's like the most electric meet he's ever been to, like the most energy out of everything he's ever commentated.
It's
I
really
mean, definitely that. And also I know like the coaching staff, they have a good history of like they take in swimmers and make them even faster. So I mean, I'm trusting the coaches. I know they're gonna get me better.
What do you what's your education going to be? What are you going into as a Navy cadet?
So I'm not decided on a major yet, but at the Naval Academy, you don't pick your major until after your first year. So just going in, I'll just kind of decide once I'm there. But right now I'm undecided.
I think any sport, whether it's lacrosse, football, obviously, swimming, if it's Army, Navy, it just adds intensity to the matchup. Just those two schools, those two academies going up against each other. So I'm sure you're looking forward to being part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Luke, we appreciate your time today, and we want to wish you the best of luck out at Bucknell on Friday and Saturday. Good luck with your final high school swim.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Sure.
Thanks a lot, Luke. Happy to talk to you.
Yeah, so
Wednesday, I'm going to see that Sailor Moon play that I think I talked to you guys about last week. That'll be my day off.
Hello.
Hello.
I knew it.
Hi.
Say hi, Brendan.
I called it. I texted her before
Yeah,
we started.
I wonder how you knew.
Someone gave it away.
No one gave it away.
Yeah.
I did not give it away.
No, she explained her work schedule to me, and she said there was a long break, so I figured maybe today's the day.
But she told you that she was going to call. That's
That it
what
would-
that's
that it
what
would
I've
be
heard from Laura.
happening.
That
That it
at
would be
some
happening.
point she would be calling in.
Oh,
At some
young
point,
love.
yeah, she said that was
young
next
love.
month. She tried to throw me off.
Ah.
I'm not dumb.
We're telling each other
Bailey.
everything. Hey, girl, talk to the guys.
Hi.
Bailey, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You know, we deal with Brendan here where he comes in and he's ready to, jump off the roof because Ohio State loses to Michigan. He's ready to jump off the roof because Justin Fields signs with the Jets. What's it like dealing with the at-home version of Brendan?
Well, I was actually going to tell you guys that I think everyone needs to give him a hug because of the news today. So.
I will if he buys me dinner. How about that?
Aw.
Sam's Club hot dog.
Who was
And
signed
pizza.
last night that you were freaking out about?
DK Metcalf. I told him.
He
that
was
story,
happy about
yes.
that.
I asked Laura
Yeah,
if she
he was screaming. I might get a noise complaint.
Hey, Laura watches Love is Blind, or she got stuck on an episode,
I got
she said.
stuck on.
Oh, I was just watching the reunion.
Yeah, I got stuck. I don't know. It was a lot. Erin and who's the girl? The really pretty blonde girl with she's got the lashes and all the things.
Very
Aaron.
descriptive.
Maybe it's a different season. Aren't there a bunch of
Maybe.
seasons? I don't know. I can't.
Yeah, the most recent one is the 8th season.
Until I sat down with her last night, the whole time she was talking about Love is Blind, I thought she was talking about Love Island. Like, there's so many different, shows.
Oh, no, that's it. It's Love Island.
Love Island.
Oh, that okay.
Okay.
That's why.
Oh, so Aaron and Kaylor.
Yes.
Yes.
That whole, that's.
I watched The Bachelor, The
Oh.
Bachelorette, The Bachelor.
We'll
Which
come
one
back
was
to our
that?
sports pod in a little
Both.
later, Derek.
I watched that with her. And I just judged the women the whole time, like how they acted around the man, and they're all like
Well,
catty about the one man.
Okay.
they're like, we don't
Judging the
care.
women.
Oh
I
my
mean-
gosh.
This is a friendly podcast.
Derek's
I feel
thinking
like-
something.
So,
Derek's
so this is an example of something that Bailey's into that she kind of brings you in to as far as TV shows go,
I
right?
try to keep a balance. Yeah.
Okay, that's good because we know that she has to listen about sports all the time. See, my wife
Yeah.
rarely sees me. I mean, on weekends, and if I have to work, it's just one day, right? I mean, she doesn't have to deal with my sports talk and my, trying to answer trivia questions. I mean, she doesn't have to deal with that. Bailey, you have to deal with the sports, Brendan, and the fact that he's actually making an attempt to show some type of interest in things you like. I do think I will give him a hug later. Absolutely for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know what a first down was before we started dating. So,
She learned. Like she
So-
can. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, was last night, Bailey, the first experience you had with like the hard news journalism side of this whole thing? Because he was saying that like he got up and ran off to start writing his quick article, and you were just kind of like fuming over there in the corner, like we were talking, and you just left.
I was not fuming
I
in
didn't
the corner.
say fuming. I didn't say
You're
fuming.
dramatic.
Let me ask you this because he talks about him all the time on the show. How have you taken to Rambo?
Rambo, I love him.
Adorable.
I told them how he got his head peed on last night.
Yeah, that was
Bailey,
that was interesting.
which is the worst version of Brendan? Post flag football game Brendan, post Ohio State loss Brendan, or post Steelers bad news Brendan?
I feel
God
like
help us if
we're
they all
used-
happen one day.
No. I feel like we're used to bad news with the Steelers. So he's taken that.
Don't
with
rub it in.
stride. I feel it's after an Ohio State loss.
Okay. All right.
Which
so
doesn't
I feel
happen
like
at
flag
all.
football doesn't really affect them too much.
it does. Geez, he comes in and tells us about like every fight that he gets into at flag football and all the shirts that he's lost in combat.
Oh yeah, your crop top's actually on my floor right now. I need to
Wait, crop top?
the one that- the shirt
that needs
that's
to be
wor-
framed on the wall.
Brendan, your leotard's still at Bailey's house.
The shirt that he said got ripped a couple weeks ago.
Yes. We need that. That's
She
gonna
has
need to
videos.
go in a frame. I've got some
I
spots
have
to
some
cover.
videos of him playing his game in his crop top.
Yeah,
There's a
we
holder
need
top
that.
out in the parking lot on the
Beautiful.
ground. I think that might be yours
We
too.
need an action shot. I want to get one of those like cardboard cutouts, you know, like Brendan in action in his crop top.
She missed her
Yeah.
chance. She said when she called in that she was gonna start singing "Fly Eagles Fly," and I was like, "You'll make
Yes.
Jake happy."
Well, it's like you're
but
like
I'll leave.
reminding her. You're
Well,
just giving her the opportunity to
I
do
talked
it.
to her
We're not
early.
done.
Darius Slay, he's coming to Steelers, right?
Is he?
Yeah, I like him. Like,
Oh, we were talking about it.
other
as a
than the
possible-
fact that he
yeah.
fought Darnell Washington, now he's gonna have to be friends with him.
Yeah.
But she likes the Eagles, and I guess I've come to accept the fact that she likes the Eagles. So
Okay.
Welcome
Yeah.
to the dark side, there, Bailey. It's
Yeah.
good to be
Thank
here.
you.
Hey,
Yeah.
Bailey, what are your thoughts on the on? We're still trying to get a consensus take here at the podcast. But what are your thoughts on Brendan's facial hair?
On his facial hair?
Yes.
The eyebrows look great, by the
It
way.
needs to happen. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I don't want him to ever shave his face ever again.
Oh.
Ooh, wow. That sounded
It
like
hurts.
almost
It's scratchy.
ultimatum.
Now, if Rob
It all
upstairs
did.
wants you to shave and she doesn't, then we're gonna find out who's more important to you, bro.
no, what's funny is I'll never forget it because I was like talking to her as the high school football season started. So I was out at Freeport taking pictures. I think it was the preseason. I was taking pictures of like Sean Sellinger and those guys, and in between taking pictures and like waiting for the coaches to talk, I was just getting to know Bailey, and at that point, I only had a mustache. So I remember asking her, "Would you kiss a guy with a mustache?" as like my way of flirting with her, and that was the first like risky flirting text I sent her. And she said yes. So I thought maybe she likes a mustache, but now I'm not allowed to have it. So
It's
I guess she has
just
to deal with the
scratchy.
beautiful
like, you
beard
like give me a
instead.
hug, and I feel like it's like sandpaper on my face.
Oh well. I will say this: if he's gonna have facial hair, just go all the way. Just the mustache, and I'm looking at a picture of him here with just the mustache. It doesn't look good. If he's gonna go mustache, he got to have a beard too.
Bailey, you said
Bass
that
Pro
you,
Shop.
you learned about football with Brendan's tutelage here. What's your sports background? Did you play anything growing up? Did you watch anything growing up? What's your sports
Not
knowledge?
really.
Okay.
I grew up in Kentucky, so there's no like big like sports teams there besides like college basketball. So I didn't really like have a background in sports or anything. And whenever we first started talking, I actually had my best friend who was like super into sports FaceTime me, and we would screen share a photo of a football field, and she would explain to me like football. I knew nothing about it, and now I can like actually sit down and enjoy a game. So
Was your family Louisville or Kentucky in basketball?
Louisville.
Okay. All
Louisville.
right. I will not say it that
Louisville.
way. I am a Yankee, darn it.
Denny Crum.
Jake spent some time in Louisville.
I was
Louisville.
there for a year and a half. Did you go to any?
I'm gonna do it every time.
Did you go to
Louisville.
any Kentucky derbies? I know that's like I know people from Louisville like try to get out of the city
Louisville.
there, but did you ever go?
Yeah, so the Derby's actually in like a really bad part of town.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't really know that. But I was younger when I moved away from there, so I was like 13 when I moved here. But we would go to the horse races like a week or so before, and not go to the actual Derby itself.
Smart. Much less crowded. Much
Yeah.
fewer drunk people.
Bailey, did you
Yeah.
ever have a bit of a Southern accent? Because I can't detect one here.
I did. Whenever I moved here, my family, this is going to sound horrible, they would bully me. They would like make me count to 5. So I very quickly lost it. But if I'm like angry or something and I feel like I'm not actually like paying attention to my words, sometimes it'll come out a little bit more. But
So bad Brendan gets the Southern accent, you know? It's
yeah.
like a mother calling her son by his
You don't-
first
you-
and middle name.
No, if she started talking a Southern accent, I would quickly listen to whatever she has to say. That's for sure.
What?
You've trained him well, Bailey.
Mallory's Yinzer comes out every now and then. I'll hear it, and it's so funny when it does because her mom's just full Yinzer, like whoosher, all that stuff. Everything is just a hard Yinzer accent, but Mallory's isn't pronounce, but every now and then I'll hear it sneak out, and I'll just kind of start giggling, and she's just like, "What's the matter?"
So Derek asked Bailey about Rambo, and part of the way in which she's won me over is she's allergic to dogs. And she sneezes, like he comes over and she sneezes and he gets hair on her bed and she has to wash sheets all the time.
She's not just allergic to you.
I don't know.
It could be your dander.
No, but she treats Rambo.
I don't think Benadryl will help with that.
Own.
Oh, poor Bailey. I'm sorry.
Wow, that's
No,
commitment.
So good.
That's commitment right there.
That's love right there.
Eventually.
I was gonna say that's love. So someday, are we gonna all be invited to the wedding someday? I'm just gonna say it. I'm not even looking at
Absolutely.
Brendan as I say it.
Nice.
I'll bring the mics and we'll have like a little corner. Everybody can sit down and give their take on.
I'll wear my best Kentucky Derby hat.
Yeah.
We have to invite Kenny Pickett to that.
No.
wedding.
Yes.
I invited Kenny Pickett to play in Turkey Bowl. He didn't answer. So I was actually thinking, I'm not joking, I was actually thinking of DMing Justin Fields and telling him it made me sad he left, but I will support him no matter where he goes.
Oh my
I will
God.
be getting a Justin Fields Jets jersey as soon as I find out what number he is. I'm not joking.
000.
Wow, you're gonna get a Jets jersey. Okay,
I'm
good.
a Jets
This
fan.
is progress.
I texted her. I said I will cheer for the Jets now as well as the Steelers.
Wow.
No,
Wherever
you said, and I quote, hold on.
Did she keep? Oh,
She has the text. She's
This is
pulling
great. She keeps
You
receipts.
said, oh, where is it?
It's not that far.
Hold
up there.
on. You said, you and I, we're Jets fans now. And then you spelled out Jets a bunch of times.
Jets, Jets.
We're good. Okay, you better bring some gear in here. I talk to my friends in New York and let them know.
Bailey, we know that you listen to the show. One of our shticks lately has been counting how long it takes for Brendan to bring you up. Today,
Say your name.
Today, he didn't do it until you got on the air here with us.
He didn't actually say your name, but he
Wow.
brought her up around 9 minutes.
Was
He
it?
started talking, and I was like, he didn't say the name, though, because I looked at the timer.
Do you give him a hard time for this, or are you encouraging him, or are you encouraging him to try to bring your name up sooner? We're trying to figure out what the motivation here is for him.
I'm just very
always bringing
excited to
you up.
talk about my beautiful girlfriend.
Oh.
Aw.
That's actually your official sound, just so you know.
Really, just need to
I
put
love
Brendan
the
on the
sound
button.
effects.
Just need to say Twinkles. Brendan and Bailey. I'm just going to change it. B&B. Okay.
What's something else that? What's a deep dark secret of Brendan's you can share with us on the show?
Oh my gosh.
PG-13, so I don't have to
I
edit
know. No, yeah. I don't know. I don't know any of the deep, dark secrets that I would be allowed to share. I have to think about that.
Oh, this is not what I'm going for. We need ammunition here.
Yeah, well,
She knew
I'm trying to think of
she
something.
knew everything about me like 2 weeks and to us actually like having known each other.
oh
Like,
boy.
You just didn't shut up.
Hmm.
nope.
You better keep this girl
No.
happy, Brendan. You better keep her happy. We appreciate
I'm really
you.
trying to think.
We thank you for calling in, Bailey. It's nice to have a female's perspective in here every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't count
I
as a
feel like
female,
Taylor
apparently.
You don't call in though.
Oh, that's right.
You're the person behind the green curtain.
I'm
back
just here. I'm the wizard, I guess. Thank you.
Think
Yeah.
about it for the rest of the day.
Perfect.
Bye,
Love
Bailey.
this.
Alrighty.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Do, 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 do. I've gotten 3 in a row.
So before that, we were wondering how much the Steelers might have offered Justin Fields. They offered him $30 million for 2 years with $20 million guaranteed, and the Jets offered him $40 million for 2 years with $30 million guaranteed. So a $10 million difference, as you said. $20 million and $10 million.
And look, people can say what they want about the Steelers. Obviously, they've had their struggles in the playoffs. If you were told that over the next 3 years, either the Steelers win the Super Bowl or the Jets, which franchise has a better shot at winning the Super Bowl? It's the Jets. They were last there in 1969.
I'm glad that you agree that the Jets have the better chance. What, are you being sarcastic?
The Steelers have the better shot at getting the Super Bowl.
Oh,
You
yeah.
think so?
Yes.
I don't know about that.
They're the Jets.
It's the Jets.
It's the Jets.
The Jets draft in the top 7 this year.
They've drafted in the
Anyways.
top 7 for like the last 25 years. It hasn't done them any good.
Okay, so sticking on the subject of free agent quarterbacks, Derek.
Whatever.
I know free agency hasn't been around forever, obviously.
1993.
1993, yes. So, who is the first quarterback the Steelers ever signed as an unrestricted free agent?
First quarterback.
Yes.
Can I answer this now?
I hope you don't get it right.
Mike Tomczak.
Oh, my God.
Mike Thompson.
He's just going over 500.
4 in a row, baby. Daddy's home.
2 games over 500. He's in the playoff picture here.
Yes.
Watch out, Lakers.
I'll get to the playoffs and lose the first game just like the Steelers do.
Okay.
Man, that's been 2 anticlimactic trivia questions in a row.
Actually
you
3.
nailed-
Ray Kemp, Tony Dungy, and
But I think the last 2 you've nailed.
One
in
of
the
those
first
was a
10
two-parter,
seconds.
wasn't it? Was it
that-
last week or the week before? You had a two-parter, didn't you? And you got both? Or no?
no, I got in a 2-parter the week that he was off, and he asked me.
I'm going to start really taking it seriously where I'm diving into Pro Football Reference like a pool. Welcome to Beyond Butler, the weekly sports segment where we talk about something outside of Butler County, whether that be professionally, like today, or collegiately. As we've talked about a few times, I was very excited with the addition of DK Metcalf of the Steelers last night. I don't really know Derek's thoughts on it, so I'm really excited to hear what he has to say. And DK Metcalf was a college teammate of Jake's favorite player ever, A.J. Brown. So I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about DK Metcalf.
Reads my mind now. Scary.
DK Metcalf, over 400 career receptions in the NFL, over 6,000 yards, 48 touchdowns. The production, the numbers look good. Here's the question I have, though, and anybody that follows the Steelers has to have the same question. How is he going to be able to coexist? Or better yet, how is George Pickens going to be able to coexist with another top receiver on the team?
My thoughts on this is that they're not going to – I think it would be unwise of them because they know Pickens is going to walk for a good amount of money. He'd probably be the number 1 receiver in free agency next year. Why just let him walk for nothing? Like, especially, I don't know, the quarterback situation is very unclear. I think that they should trade Pickens at his highest value right now, which I think if DK Metcalf gets traded for a second-round pick, George Pickens is younger. If you give George Pickens his money, you have him for a while, and he's very talented. I think you get a second-round back for him.
Here's I want to bring one thing up here. Last year, Pickens was obviously the Steelers' number 1, and in reality, they really had no number 2. They had like a 3.5, 4, 4.5, Austin, Jefferson. So my question is, if they trade Pickens, where do you get another really good receiver?
I think if they trade Pickens,
Draft-wise?
the defensive tackle class in this draft is very strong. You could still go wide receiver number 1. If you still have Pickens, if you keep him next year, you don't go wide receiver in the first round. But if you don't have him and you have that second rounder, you go for a defensive tackle in the second round of the draft, and you take a wide receiver number 1. That way, you have number 1 and number 2 wide receivers knocked out. And here I say this as I have 2 jerseys up on the wall in my room, right? Justin Fields, Ohio State jersey, and a George Pickens, Georgia jersey. So I like George Pickens, but
I'm surprised it's only 2 jerseys. I think that's the bigger surprise.
I need more thumbtacks. I think the Steelers need to get that second-round pick back because a second-round pick, when you draft a second rounder, they're expected to be a starter. No matter what position you take there, second round is starter, third round, fourth round, fifth round. That's all depth. So,
and as number 1, if they do get rid of Pickens, and obviously they got Metcalf now, he's going to be much less of a headache than George Pickens. My God.
Seems it.
He has to be. He has to be.
you can't pay both George Pickens and DK Metcalf, and I guarantee George Pickens, are you going to say they could?
You could, yeah. You made fun of me with the A.J. Brown comment a second ago,
Well,
but that team, they're spending big dollar on 2 receivers. I think the Bucks are the only ones spending any more at receiver than
you might have that
Eagles.
right, honestly, because if they go with a veteran quarterback this year, which they're most likely going to do, you're not taking Shedeur Sanders. I don't think he's falling that far. And even if he does, he's really not that special of a talent. And I've written about that multiple times now for different sites. If you have a quarterback on a rookie deal, you can afford to pay 2 wide receivers. And I don't know, Arch Manning, the draft's in Pittsburgh. I guess I'll start. That bandwagon.
The campaign for Manning. The one interesting thing here is it sounds like Metcalf's cap hit is going to be a little less than $10 million this year. It's going to jump a lot once the rest of the deal kicks in because this year's deal is part of what the contract was they signed with the Seahawks before.
Yeah, in 2022.
Yeah, and so the Steelers gave him an extension that starts in 2026. they have, and this is, Monday afternoon, the tampering period has already started, so we haven't checked through all of the contracts that have been signed and stuff yet, but the Steelers went into this free agency with $59 million in cap space. About $9 million of that's tied up with Metcalf now, which still leaves you with $50 million to potentially sign a bunch of other players. So, again, this is going to be all obsolete by the time this episode drops, but what else would you guys target if you're
the thing
Khan and trying to build this roster?
I think the big names are off the board now. Milton Williams, he's going to the Patriots. He's supposed to go to Carolina, which I think I'd rather go to New England than Carolina. They're both kind of similar situations, but New England has a coach that I think is going to turn them around really quickly. So the defensive tackles are off the board, or off the free agency list there.
But it's a deep, deep draft at D-line this year.
Yeah, but you're not going to spend all that. Like, I think a good amount of that $50 million is going to go towards TJ Watt, because you saw what Myles Garrett got paid, and you mentioned, would you rather stay with the team and lose and get paid, or would you rather go to a team and win and not get as much? And Myles Garrett answered that question, but him and Max Crosby have kind of set that market for TJ Watt. And if TJ Watt wants his money, then the Steelers are going to have to pay him unless they trade him too. And at this point, Derek's going to hate me saying this, but TJ Watt is on the back nine of his career. I don't think you should be paying him that sort of money.
I was just going to say that.
You guys agree?
I mean, I love TJ Watt, but the guy's rookie season was 2017. I mean, he's
not $120 million guaranteed worth,
No.
and not anymore.
Right.
Right. Bovada official said, and I saw this on Twitter, that Micah Parsons has the highest odds to go to the Steelers if he leaves the Cowboys. Trade TJ Watt to the Cowboys for Micah Parsons.
No, I want him on the Eagles.
I'd pay Parsons.
Hold on a second. Micah Parsons is a Penn State guy. You're okay with that?
He's very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll wait. A good player came out of Penn State. Wait, Jack Ham, Franco Harris. I'm sorry.
I would have taken
Saquon
Saquon Barkley too. Yeah, I would have taken Saquon Barkley too. And the only reason Micah Parsons didn't go to Ohio State was because he went to College Game Day, and Kirk Herbstreit, who went to Ohio State, let him on the set on his visit to Ohio State, which counted as, like, you can Google it. It counted as, like, improper, like, not benefits, but improper, like, recruiting, because you had someone that went to Ohio State kind of prop someone up.
I'm sure he's a booster in some fashion.
And right after, Ohio State completely cut their recruitment with him so that they wouldn't get penalized.
Wow. Okay. I still think he would have gone to Penn State, though.
I don't know about that.
He committed to Penn State as a sophomore and then decommitted for a little bit, but I was in central Pennsylvania when that was.
Yeah, were you out there when?
Yeah, a lot of the Harrisburg. A lot of the speculation. Now, this is all speculation. Like, I don't know any of this for fact at all. But a lot of the speculation that we kind of had was, it seemed like he just wanted to have that chance to do a recruiting or a commitment event, whatever it was. He ended up doing it through Penn Live. They did the whole reveal when he committed to Penn State, but he decommitted as a junior and listed. I think it was Alabama, Penn State. I think Georgia was in there, and I'm forgetting who the fourth one was. But then everyone kind of thought he was going to stay with Penn State. It was just more of maybe he felt he jumped in a little too early, just wants to explore his options a little bit more, maybe try to make a little bit more of a show out of it or something like that.
It's rare that you see a kid decommit and then recommit to the same school that they decommitted from, especially now.
From my perspective, it never really seemed like he was going to leave. It was just, maybe James Franklin said something wrong one day, and they kind of separated for a little bit and got back together. I don't know, but it never really seemed like he was a serious threat to leave Penn State's recruiting.
You tell me
class.
Pat Narduzzi wasn't in on that?
I was going to leave this till the end, but since we're talking college/pro football here, I'm going to mention it now. Craig Wolfley, a 10-year veteran for the Steelers from 1980 through 89, passed away earlier today. He was mostly a guard, played a little bit of tackle. A lot of people, when they look at the 80s Steelers, it's easy for them to say, well, that's the decade the Steelers came back down to earth because they won 4 Super Bowl titles in 6 years in the 70s. And that may be true. 4 playoff appearances in a 10-year span in the 80s for the Steelers, but I'll always have a soft spot for that decade because that's when I remember beginning to watch the Steelers and the NFL in general. And Craig Wolfley was one of the linemen on the Steelers for those first few years that I was a football crazed kid in Fayette County, Pennsylvania. My parents remember that very well.
I'll remember him because of the radio with Tunchokin, obviously.
Yeah, he was a radio guy on the Steelers broadcast the last decade or so. He also had a brother that played in the NFL for the Cardinals. So Craig Wolfley, dead at the age of 66. R.I.P. Craig, and go Steelers.
Ron Wolfley?
Ron was his brother.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are you surprised I knew that?
Yes, I am. Bailey. Boy, I'll tell you what.
Round a halt. All right.
So we got something regarding high school sports here. I want to get your take on, Brennan, Jake. We've all been to basketball games, and we're going to focus specifically on basketball here because it happens in other sports, but since it's postseason basketball, that's what I'm thinking of. Should fans take it easy on basketball refs? We've all seen them berate basketball refs at games, whether it's a playoff or even regular season, or should the refs themselves grow thicker skins? Brendan.
When I first read this question, I was trying to think of a game I have been at recently where I haven't heard a parent complain. Like, it's just every single play. Slippery Rock's down by 30 points the other day, and parents are, you didn't see that bump, and they're just going crazy. This gym is super tiny, and these fans are on top of these refs, and I'm not sure if you guys saw what happened with Unionville and Meadville.
Yeah.
Uniontown and Meadville,
Yeah, I saw
which
that.
became, like, national news. But, like, the thing is, these refs, I understand they get paid, but, like, they're taking time out of their night to go and watch kids play a game.
Yeah.
And, like, just make sure those kids, like, have someone to govern that game. And all these parents, like, I kind of thought, too, like, what I would be like as a parent if my son played basketball or football. That, like, you probably get pretty fired up. But I think I told you guys the story earlier this season where I was at a Corn City game against Clarion, and Corn City was still trying to make it into the playoffs, and we were still in that situation. And this guy behind me, he's sitting right behind me. Those refs should be wearing purple stripes. They should be wearing purple stripes. And then he said that like 15 times. Finally, the ref is right there in the corner as a kid shoots a three. They call a foul. And this guy, he's like 2 feet from the ref's face. He goes, you finally make a call. He says, get out of here. And the security comes and takes him out. Like, it's not that serious at the end of the day. I understand that they kind of have a say in what your children's memories will be playing that game, or especially in playoffs. But let them be. Like, you don't got to be so, like, mean. I don't understand it.
My favorite one is, you're missing a good game, ref.
I don't think any of us minds, like, parents complaining about a call we're all going to do it. We, like, kids do it, the coaches do it, parents, like, I think there's, I don't know exactly how to describe what the line is, but there is definitely a line of abuse that we are not granting to middle-aged men and women, mostly middle-aged. Some of them are a little bit younger than that, but a lot of them are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and that's one of the reasons why you're seeing such a decline in officials, because there's not a younger crop coming back up, because why would they want to, take the abuse?
Themselves.
Yeah, why would you want to spend your Tuesday night after work going to a Karn City Montauk basketball game to get your head ripped off by some fan in the corner who hasn't picked up a basketball his or herself in 15 years? Like, and the pay's never good. It's pay to get you out there, but these are effectively volunteers. And we see so many times, like, I've read so many stories and watched so many videos about officials who are like, yeah, we leave the gym now in packs. We never leave alone because you don't want to risk someone attacking you, because it happens more often. I'm not saying it's all the time. It's definitely not, but there are more frequent incidences now, it seems like, than there was when, I was a kid or 30 years, 40 years ago or anything like that.
And I don't get why, like, some schools also announce the names of the referees. Why is that necessary? Like, I understand, like, you're kind of, like, recognizing that they're there, but these people have social media. These parents know that. Like,
If I'm a ref, I'd rather not be recognized.
Yeah.
Honestly, by
something
name.
that really stood out to me was I cover hockey tonight. I covered hockey last Monday, and those hockey parents, that they're a different breed of brutal towards referees. And, like, maybe it's because there's glass separating, but these hockey parents are standing on the top of the bleachers just swearing. They must have had a few drinks before they went in. Like,
Have you seen this is from the Vine days, so this might predate you a little bit, Brendan, but the hockey video of this guy, he smashes the glass, or he hits the glass because he's ticked out a call or whatnot, and the glass shatters.
I haven't seen
And
that.
some woman yells, "Way to go, Paul." Mallory will bring this up like every 2 months. Just shows this video just because it's just this guy slams the glass, it shatters right in front of him.
A fan.
A fan.
Oh
Just some dad probably just hits
That game
the
would
glass.
be done, like unless you have
Yep.
another pane of glass sitting around.
It would just
someone
be
to install it.
the only thing that would make karma more better is if someone hit a puck at that same moment and went through where the glass was and just clipped that guy right in the head.
Regarding the high school game, I'm convinced if you just take a fan in general, put them in the stands, they might disagree with calls, but you make that same person a parent of one of the players, and they just become more vocal. And they look through things. We heard the term rose-colored glasses. They look through the parent glasses, and they see something different than what they wouldn't if they weren't parents of one of the kids.
You're the only one of us with a son, right?
Yeah.
That I know of.
None that I know of.
That's
the father of a son.
Will is getting to the age where he's playing sports. Obviously, he plays baseball. Do you ever find yourself when you're not listening to Steelers games in your ears or at those baseball games, T-ball games, whatever they are at this point? Do you ever find yourself getting annoyed at whoever's refereeing or umping those games?
I can say, boy, that was a bad call, literally. But that's where it stops. And I don't get up at the edge of the fence and start yelling at the ref.
I can imagine you like holding on to.
Oh my gosh!
I hate you, ump.
Oh no! If I ever become that parent, then you can just pull the plug on me. Honestly, he's playing baseball again this spring. I will not berate somebody. I might turn to my wife and say that ump's blind. But that's as far as it goes. And the ump will not hear that comment.
Yeah.
Just my wife will.
I texted my mom after this was my first spring. So I'd finished up a fall, winter, and I was in the middle of a spring season. I was like, if there's one thing about watching all these parents react is I'm learning what not to do when I'm a parent one day. Like that's the lesson I'm going to take away from this. That's it.
I would always hear my dad. It's funny because my dad would go to my sister's cheer games, and I remember specifically it was Newcastle Butler, and we've talked a few times. Newcastle and Butler played in the playoffs too, and I didn't cover that game. But my dad kept saying he's like, those refs ruined that game last time. I was like, Dad, Butler turned the ball over 12 times in the first quarter. I understand it's easy to blame the refs, but and I'm not saying I know more than my dad. I don't want him to hear this and be like, okay, buddy. But I don't know. I just think sometimes it's easier to blame the refs whenever your team is kind of doing bad. Whenever the Steelers lost to the Eagles and I'm going off, the refs are doing this, that's because the Steelers were really just getting pounded that day. You're more susceptible. You don't hear people cheering on the refs being like, yeah, it's a good call, unless it's sarcastic and they're like, great job.
I think it's easy for, if a parent's watching their kid on the court. Now, granted, in basketball, there's 3 refs. I realize that. But you're watching your kid, and if you see him, even if it is literally a foul that's not called, you're watching them. You're zoned in on what your kid's doing. The 3 refs, they might not see that. Yeah. I mean, they can't see every single thing that happens on the court.
They're watching,
even though there's
kids.
3 of them. Yeah, they're watching 10 kids and 2 coaches,
and they got to know the whole rule book.
Listening to 2 coaches.
I reffed a few flag football games in the flag football league we're in because they don't have set refs. They just pay $25, and you're like, okay, you go watch this game. Even it's 10 guys on the field, and it's tough. It's you got to know what's going on. You got to be watching different things. And I get distracted pretty easily. So.
You distracted? Never. Well, this week we've got state swimming championships. Brendan will have that covered from here. He'll be doing a bunch of stories on that most of this week. He's also going to be at hockey tonight on Monday, covering Seneca Valley, number 1 seed in AAA, trying to make the final. We got North Catholic boys and girls basketball this week in the state second round, along with Karn City girls basketball. If they win, they'll play again Friday and Saturday.
I'll be there.
You'll be there. We'll have everyone covered here, so stay tuned to the Butler Eagle.
The Tanning and Oil City, here I come. We encourage you to subscribe to the Butler Eagle YouTube channel and Apple or Spotify podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Alter Eagle Podcast and at Butler Eagle News. Goodbye.